Dealing with employees. I have quite a long career in HR and training. I was with the company, grew the company from 500 employees in 9 locations to 32 locations nationwide and 7,500 employees. I was in charge of customer care and training solutions, and when I joined the company, they had no training whatsoever. So, and then at the end, well, I stayed 8 years. We had 100 people reporting to the training department, so we made it a great place to want to work within the organization. And then recently, several years ago, I was a director of Wilco. Is everybody familiar with Wilco? And I was on their executive team out in Mount Angel and was responsible, again, I went in when there was no training programs whatsoever. And I was responsible for the best employees' overall corporate strategy and also for implementing training. So I want to share some of what I know from experience works, and also impart to you that your employees are a great way to save money, improve your bottom line. If you get this right, you get people that want to work for your company, and then you save the cost of turnover. So I have given you a little bit of a handout here. If you want to take some notes on that, that would be great. So best employee strategy. At Wilco, we had a best employee strategy along with profitability, along with financial, and there was one other one I forget right now, but this was a whole category. Now, what we're talking about employees is talent, and we want to recruit, hire, train, and retain talent. Costs, and if you could add on your notes turnover there. Turnover costs a lot of money. So some turnover we obviously want. You want to weed out the underperformers, you want to get rid of your problems as quickly as you can, and that also is a benefit of having an employee strategy, because when you have everything in shape, you can identify, discipline, take measures to get the ones you don't want out. But the ones that you do, that are good workers, you want to give them reasons to stay. The cost of turnover, there's direct, indirect, and hidden costs. But the costs alone are entry level. I wrote some notes here. So costs, direct costs are advertising, interviews, and selection, all the time it takes to do that. Stress on the staff to fill in. Institutional knowledge that was gained by that employee is gone. The time it takes to train somebody to get up to speed. And then what do you think some of the hidden costs might be?
Morale.
Morale, that's good. That's a good one. What else?
Public image.
Yeah.
Especially when they go and talk about your company.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, word of mouth in the wrong way.
Yeah. Yep.
You call into the company and you ask for Joe, and Joe's no longer with the company.
Yeah.
And you go, well, what happened? I was working with Joe. Now who am I going to work with? I don't know anybody but Joe.
Right.
You immediately have a negative, or you suspect there was something wrong. And it wasn't Joe's fault.
Right. And that's a hidden cost, could be things that you'll never know about, lost opportunities. Say, like you just said, somebody's working with somebody they like, and all of a sudden that person's gone, they don't want to work with anybody else. Or how about errors by new employees that cost the company a lot of money? You know, something goes bad in an engraving and then the order goes out, like you said before.
Yeah, I mean insurance, there's insurance, claims,
Yep.
theft, breaking things, there's a lot of,
Yeah. And so the best thing is to hire the best people, train them, and then retain them. And so this is what this presentation is about. Oops. Hopefully I'm going to do this right. No?
It's
There we
the
go.
unmarked.
There we go. So Time Magazine, through the American Association of Psychology, reports that the top reasons Americans give for not leaving their current jobs are, I enjoy the work I do, and it fits well with the other areas of my life. So some people like that nonstop, like us, small business owner. Oh, I forgot, I own the Highlander Cycling Bike Shop. So I was a small business owner too after that corporate career, just so you know we have a connection. And then it fits well with the other areas of my life. A lot of people these days want balance. You know, they want more balance. So what do employees want? These are the three things that, this is from Pay Scale, which does all of the research on pay and benefits for every different kind of position. So you can go onto Pay Scale, you can look up, what's an example of somebody that works for you? Administrative assistant?
Mhm.
And you can see, am I paying in the right scale? How about you? You have 50 employees?
25?
25? Growing to 50? Yeah. So this is, and Michelle, you're gonna bring some on in the near future.
Yeah, right.
To eat.
I'm hoping.
Don't do it, don't do it.
I'm gonna hire somebody.
I hear ya.
Right.
I want to take off and leave on vacation.
So PayScale did a whole survey on everybody who uses their system, the top 3 things that employees want. Number 1 is respect. And you as a leader have a lot of ways that you can do that, but they want to know that what they think matters, they want to be treated as valued members of the team, and they want to have something meaningful to contribute. Even a good morning or an acknowledgement that you're, you know, how is your family doing, anything, that's respect too. In the hallway, even if you're clouded with lots of things to do and lots of worries, just acknowledging your employee is a form of respect. So employers who give employees workplace respect have much more loyal workers. The next one is interesting work. So most people would prefer to be intellectually challenged. Pay matters, but even the best pay cannot compensate for a situation that's not interesting. So even for repetitive jobs, work can be interesting. You can have somebody, and as an accounting, as a accounts payable or something that's repetitive, and lots of people like, and as John will show us in the CVI, they want to do something that's repetitive and routine and standardized. However, they still want it to be interesting. You can put people on special project teams. You can give them a special project. You know, this is important to the company. Do this as part of your work. And you can find ways to make work interesting for anybody. The next one is autonomy. So autonomy is not doing what you want when you want to do it in this context. What it means is that your employers see you and they feel that you're adult enough to get the job done, smart enough to have an opinion, and skilled enough to work without micromanagement. Basically, does that wrap it up for you better? The autonomy?
Yes.
Yes, because John was saying, wait a minute, we're standardizing things. How do you get autonomy into that? And, but autonomy is being adult, smart, and skilled, if you want to boil it down to 3 words. So here are some strategies, proven strategies, that work to give you the outcomes and the benefits that you want. So as a business owner, of course, you're looking always for what's the end result of what I'm going to do. And so I have the key areas of opportunity to share with you. Of course, I'm going to put a heavy emphasis on employee training programs because, of course, that's my background, and I spent 25 years convincing whoever needed to be convinced that training was really important. But the bottom line is that we were able to improve quality scores, reduce turnover, have a better customer experience, use mystery shopping to prove that it was right. So training is critical, and the reason, well, here's our key areas: training, reward and recognition, and direction and leadership. Employee training programs. There's 3 different areas to focus in on. Number 1 is job training. That's how do I do my job when I walk in the door. And the second one is professional development. That could be leadership training, communication training. So it's moving a person up after they've learned how to do their job, but providing them an opportunity to continue to grow. And then succession programs, if somebody can see where they're going in the company, and your boss and the management supports that, they're going to be engaged with the process. We developed a huge career path training program for Wilco, a career path. So if you could, we would we do these workshops where we identified their competencies and their desires, kind of like the core value index, but it was a little bit different. And then people could say, they might have thought, well, I want to be a pet groomer or a retail store manager, but then they did this assessment, and it turns out that they would be a lot better as a marketing person, right? And so then we could say, okay, you're a great employee, we're going to put you on a path to achieve getting into the position that's best for you. And it really was engaging, and if you couldn't be part of the career planning or career path program if you were not performing in your job. It wasn't a given thing for people. You had to earn the right to actually be in the program. So it was a great thing for the company, because as they opened up more and more stores, we had this whole training program for people that were identified as being good for the assistant farm store manager position. And then, of course, the goal is to bring that farm store manager position up to run a new store or fill in for turnover. A very successful program, because people did their job so they could be part of it. And they saw where they were going to be able to go. So I brought some examples, and you can see them where you want, but these are examples of training books. So there's one for pet grooming. So every little thing has a book, and all of them have 10 standards, or more than 10 standards. They're quality standards. And so a group of people with the most, with the senior managers and a group of subject matter experts come together to determine what constitutes quality in our company. And 5 to 10, that's a good number people can work with. You can base everything. You could do incentive programs. You could do mystery shopping. So when people have the standards and they know what to do, you can actually take and evaluate every single standard, right? So did I do the greeting correctly? Did I process the transaction correctly? Did I say goodbye? Did I answer the questions correctly? There's a lot of detail. But you can imagine that, I mean, the difference between coming in and saying, okay, here is a training program, and this right here, Rich, is the training instructors, this is how they get them through the book. Some positions lend themselves to a little group training, or depending on the size of the company, a big training. But some is still one-on-one, but there's no reason to sacrifice detail because it's one-on-one training. If you have something you can go through step by step and sign off that I've got this done. So many times companies just rely on here, you're in charge of training, and that's where we come into issues with operating standards, standardized operating procedures, and trying to have clarity through the system, just as Patrick was talking about. These things make sure there's standardized procedures. Everybody has to follow them. Once they're decided upon, they're written down, everybody gets retrained, and then from now on, anybody who walks in that door gets the same training, and everybody's required to follow it. So if you're not following the standard procedures, you're not living up to the quality standards, then you're not a good fit for the company, and you got to make changes with that employee or move them on out. So employees who are confident are successful, and I guess I really wanted to emphasize the confidence, you know, if you sit down, you don't know how to play the piano, you sit down and you do chopsticks, you know, and and everybody's watching you, you don't feel confident, you're not gonna be successful, or anything in the world. People want to feel good about what they're doing, and once they do, they feel good about themselves, they make fewer mistakes, they have pride of workmanship, turnover is reduced, customer service is excellent. Did I ever tell you in the beginning how much it costs to turn over? 23,000, somebody who makes $23,000 a year costs at the bottom, the minimum it will cost to replace that person, $6,900. So if you take that times 5, if you had 5 entry level, the most would be $11,500, but if you took 5, that's $34,500 for replacing 5 entry level people. That's a lot of money. For mid-level, it's $150 of their annual salary, so to replace somebody making $50,000, it takes $75,000. Times that by 2, that's $150. So those are the true costs. Recognition and rewards. It's not just all fun and games. It really does create a team environment, and there are many ways that you can provide these kinds of programs without having it be employee of the month, you know. So do you have anything, Rich, in your company that you do in the way of rewards and recognition?
We pay a production bonus and pay for ideas that are implemented.
Very nice. That gets people thinking. So that's autonomy and respect and leadership. That's a lot of good things for those. How about you, Steve?
You know, I hate to sound pessimistic, but the industry I'm in is really tough.
Yeah.
Just the nature of the business, cleaning. It seems like even if you give them incentives, nobody sees cleaning as a long-term goal, you know what I mean? So it's tough. We haven't really come up with a real employee
Recognition.
It's been a tough one.
Yeah.
And we've been through, you know, probably 1,000 employees in the last 10 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, we've been through so many. It's like, they come in knowing that they're not gonna stay with you a long time most of the time,
Right,
you know?
right.
So we haven't really nailed that one down.
So this is a good topic for you, because
Yeah,
if you could
yeah.
even move that number down, the turnover rate down 1 point,
Yeah,
or, you know, depending on how many people you're with, you can save a ton of money. It will directly affect your bottom line. Here's just a little idea we did at Wilco too. We had a contest. I'm thinking of this because of the nature of your business.
yeah.
We got everybody a pedometer, and we broke them into teams, and then we had a map on the wall, and people would, as a team, they would report their steps every week, and we had different, you know, they would watch themselves walking from California to New York as a team, and then we had prizes for and we had the little pedometers engraved with the Wilco logo. So it was a good thing all around. Another thing is a newsletter. Keeps people informed. You can showcase somebody.
Well, I had an idea, and I have other business partners too, so it's a lot harder, you know, to get approval when you have many business partners. But my idea was to actually reward them a bonus for each job that comes back with a excellent rating from the customer.
Yeah.
You know, but that was turned down because, like I said, I have business partners, and they said, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to pay them for doing their job. And I said, well, why not? I mean, everybody's looking for that incentive, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that got rejected. I mean, that's just part of being partners, unfortunately.
It's true, but incentive programs are key.
Yeah.
I know I'm done,
Oh,
right?
no,
I thought I
just a real quick idea, because
Oh.
you have so many employees and so much turnover, do little ones. So just this person gets paid for doing their job
Yeah.
when they come back. This
Yeah.
person gets a reward for this,
Exactly.
because you have so many, do
Yeah.
5 different experiments.
Yeah.
And I don't, so,
Yeah.
just an
Yeah,
idea.
that's a good.
Yeah.
Go do a little trial basis before you invest the time and the money.
And it only costs, if anything, if it fails, you're only failing on one person.
True.
It's not get
Yeah.
anyone's, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm a big believer in incentive programs, so in the HR training, equitable pay and reward systems, like I said, you can go on pay scale and you can see where you are in the market with your employees and determine where you want to be. Maybe you want to be low pay, better, more recognition and incentives, or you want to be above because you really need to get people in the door. So you got to determine as a person, you know, as the person in charge, where you want to be on the pay scale with your employees. And I'd like, you know, identify each one of them and have consistency is the most important thing here, because employees are watching and they know, and you know, just like everybody, we all want a fair shake. So if there's a lot of inequity going on, that can cause problems in morale. So employees who feel empowered, and people do feel empowered when they're acknowledged and rewarded and identified as doing a good job, then they feel empowered to continue to do that. Self-esteem is healthy, work is higher quality, and they have a reason to make things even better. I got rewarded once, I want to do it again, I want to be acknowledged again. So I better hurry it up through there. And then finally, leadership. As the leader, the three most important things are certainly at the top of the pile, are listening, reinforcing a worthy vision, and being clear about expectations and performance. So employees who work for good leaders are engaged, they feel their opinions are valued, they know how to do their job, even in unusual situations, customer complaints. An empowered employee that has demonstrated leadership will know how to handle that problem. You will, with this, you'll create long-term producers, word-of-mouth promoters for the good. I really want to work for that company, or I really want to work for that department, or, you know, with the training people, it was a career step in both companies that I had that. And then customer delight. And now, if you could please log into your strategic SMART exit plan. Oh, uh-oh. Now it's Command Tab.
I think it's, are you sure that's the URL?
Oh.
Because I think it's just step 3. They just go to the bottom of the last page that you're
Oh,
on
okay.
and go and click continue.
Step 5.
Yeah, step 5.
Step 5.
Step 5, and go to the bottom of the page that you were on and go to continue.
So, okay, step 5, employees and operations.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have to go and type everything in. Oh, God.
It is? Oh,
Yeah.
God?
Again?
Oh,
Yeah, well, because they got
no. Do you need a cord?
hooked up. They
I got about
hooked up
30
and,
seconds more.
anyway.
Do you have power?
Yeah.
Power.
And that, well, I think when we were done, I think
We'll have run that back
he
in.
he deleted it.
Mean employee strategy, describe your.
Oh, okay, so any of the kind of things I was just talking through, training programs,
There's not a lot of plugs around here.
benefits,
Oh, there's one over there.
One more, hold on.
I already said training, reward and recognition programs, so your employee strategies can be, like, if you're looking for a SMART goal, implement,
Let's hope you're still.
I
implement
can retype it all.
recruiting
Well, I'm gonna go over
solutions,
here.
or not recruiting, but
Sure.
implement training solutions
There it
that
is.
will result in a 2% decrease in turnover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is where we're at.
I'll just get you some, I have this paper for you.
That's
That's got this stuff
This
like
is the
that.
next step.
Is it working?
Yeah, it works good. Great, great.
So here's just some of the strategies that you can do. And you'll know, you know, what you want to do is like strategies, if you have a gap in any of these, then that could become one of your strategies.
So you're talking about our current or our ideas?
Yeah, well,
business.
what does this say here?
It says describe your employee strategy.
Oh, okay, so what, do you have one? Or,
Not a documented one.
Right.
We have,
but what's your overall? Is it hire the best and forget the rest, or?
hey, that's good.
Kind of snappy.
Hire the best.
Forget the rest.
Terminate the rest.
That was an easy one.
Maybe you can go, go back a page here. I don't know how to.
It could be, your current strategy, maybe train your
Oh, I get it.
entry-level workers, or,
Here, one.
I don't know, what is it? Do you know? I mean,
President.
Hire them and hope they don't.
Yes.
Something or break something.
I know.
Well, okay.
So,
We're gonna.
That's pretty much it with us.
Section.
Hope that they can go a whole day without breaking something or stealing
Yes,
something.
oh my God.
It's been a rough 10 years,
Yeah.
let me tell you.
Oh, I can imagine.
The worst one was where a guy came home after the maids had been there, and he had a jar full of money in his house, like $1,500, and it was gone.
Oh.
I think that was one of the worst, you know?
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, well, yeah, in your business, you have to
Oh,
make sure
yeah.
the people that you
Oh.
hire aren't people that are
Yep.
planning on
thieves.
thieves, then that's the biggest risk.
I was just gonna say it varies by position, because we hire entry level and we hire engineers
Oh,
and
right.
technicians also, so it kind of varies.
It does, yeah, it would.
French are working.
I know.
But I guess the overall strategy, I like that.
Okay.
Hire the best, get the What's the second question there?
Employee training programs?
Oh, yeah, describe your training programs.
So we're covering a lot of ground today, and we want you to make progress with it. And there's, and like we've done in the past, you're going to just put in a few words, and then you're going to move on. And we're experimenting. In the last session, we had 3 separate steps, or step 2, 3, and 4. And there's the pros on having multiple steps in a session like that is that you save it regularly. But the cons are that we have 3 separate files that then they're going to each be separate from each other in terms of your book and in terms of the software and things like that. So today's, we made it a much longer single file with pages in between it. And we're risking that if you don't click submit and you go off that page, you can lose the work. So we're very much in a developmental stage here.
Just like we suggested working and doing experiments for per employee, we're doing experiments with different ways of doing this.
That's correct. We're developmental. So put in just a few and then we're going to move on.
Do you mind if I look over your shoulder?
John, I'll put it in your shared folder. It'll be on Dropbox.
Yeah, no problem. Just wing it here,
You're
considering
doing
we
great,
don't really
yeah.
have a,
Right,
established
yeah.
program, but, I think it's good to be honest in these things, because then you can go back and say, instead of being dishonest.
Right.
Pretend like you do have a list, go
Right.
back and you can reevaluate, it's okay, how do I get from not having it to having it?
Right,
And improve instead of,
exactly, strategy.
yeah,
That's how you get your strategies.
yeah.
There's never a lack, when you get one thing done, there's always opportunity. Keep on growing.
Progress is so evasive
Discouraging.
for us,
And I
it's
will
like
pull
10
it up
years.
because it's
We're making
on
as much money now than we were 10 years ago.
Oh, no,
That's horrible, yeah.
yeah.
And our revenue has increased considerably, but nothing in our pocket,
Oh.
and it's like, you get to the point where it's like this, you get majorly burned out. And then
Yeah.
you feel a couple days of rejuvenation and all of a sudden, okay, I feel better now, and then it goes back down again. It's like, it's hard to keep that motivation,
It's true.
it really is.
It's true. You gotta take care of yourself too.
Yeah, and then you let your health go because
Right.
you're so busy, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because then ultimately in the end, I mean, that's basically what I did with highline recycling, is I made myself sick. And all the things that I valued, no more time for those,
Yeah,
you know, so.
exactly.
It's kind of hard now.
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
Been burned out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And gotta do something to change quickly or it will burn out.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna move forward. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Well
alright.
done, well done, thank you.
Aw, thank you.
Now we're gonna talk about the core values, and we're going to bring together today's session in this final part of our conversation. Now, Michelle has taken the core values, and Stephen has taken the core values assessment. Were you able to go to it? Yes, you were. Can you bring it up on your laptop? Can you bring up that, and we're gonna do is, Michelle, do we have permission to use you as an example?
Yeah, if you have mine up there, might as well. It's been a couple years, I think, that I've done it, and
Supposedly they're not supposed to change.
Well,
They don't change much.
eventually I will do it again, just to see the difference.
you don't have Dropbox installed?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's either an app, I have an app, and I also have, you can just go to a web browser.
Okay, Stephen, do you have your
Yeah,
core
Let me
values
get my
up?
glasses. I gotta get my glasses.
Okay, good. All right. So, the core values assessment, as you've experienced, is a 10-minute online venture. Now, in it, as you have experienced, there was words, and you would read the words, and then you would pick other words that were like it, and in 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Some of them are pretty difficult and challenging to try to decide between them.
Yeah, there was a lot that fit.
Yeah,
But
you're able to,
like,
yeah.
okay, which way am I going with this?
Yeah,
Because in
yeah.
my back of my mind, like, well, if I answer this way,
Mhm. And then there's a question mark. You can hover over the question mark and read the definition of how they're using the term, which is also helpful. Now, so everyone look at your core value diagram, and we're going to go over. Janice, could you pass these?
There we go.
And here, I'll take one.
All right, yep.
One of these.
So there's Michelle.
Okay, great. So,
oh, never mind, I'll take that.
and then,
Okay.
and
Sounds
then, oh, the PowerPoint. Yes.
I think the top one, the bottom one's.
Oh. Can you take me to this diagram? Oh, we got it. Okay, good. So I can go back and forth. Okay. Yes, try. Thank you. Go ahead.
I'll stay
So
up here.
I'm gonna go back to the other one. Okay, now, each of yours resembles this.
Is that?
So, yes, this is